everybody, thank you for joining me today. I'm going to start off this video by apologizing for the delay in getting this up this month. It's been a rather busy time, but this is my September bullet journal setup. And for September, I chose to do runners or sneakers, whatever you call it, but that's what I decided to do. But I also wanted to give it a kind of a back to school feel as well. So I chose to do kind of graffiti with the runners against a brick wall. I used my distress ink in weathered wood, and I used my distress oxide in black soot. And then, of course, because it's 2021 and apparently I've decided to do pull tabs for all of my monthly cover pages, I am doing a pull tab. So I will share a tutorial on how I did this at a later stage. I actually want to redo all of my pull tab tutorials because after spending some time with them, I have some thoughts and better ways of creating them. I will say though that this pull tab is unique in that I hole punched a hole into the actual circle. So it's the same mechanism. I'll link the pop-up channel up above that you can see where I got the mechanism from. But I popped a hole in there and then I fed some acetate through and kind of did a bit of a stopper in it. And it actually worked really well. And it's working pretty smoothly. I'm pretty happy with it. And you'll see the effect that it gives. And of course, I'm just doing my measurements to find out where everything needs to go in place and just to keep things looking kind of cool and fun and not have anything get in the way. I decided last minute to change my mind and I didn't want the flap to open up completely. So I just taped down the one side that I didn't want to flip up. I was very unorganized this month for September, truth be told. And you can kind of see that in my video where I'm still kind of trying to put pieces together and put things in place. August was great. I had some family visit, my parents visit, and I haven't seen them in over a year. So definitely wanted to take advantage of seeing them and spending time with them, which is partly why my September layout is delayed. And then it's further delayed because of technical issues that I am trying to figure out and upgrade, and hopefully I'll get something in place. So I thought it would be fun to say kick it and then have the shoe kick out. And it came out so well and I'm so happy with it. My quote this month is, "If the shoe fits, walk in it everywhere you go." It's from Taylor Swift, Long Story Short, from the Evermore album, I believe. And just, with shoes, I thought it was appropriate. Now, for my cover page, I actually did end up printing and cutting a lot of my elements. September 2021, the shoe and the kick it. The rest of the setup, I do use my acrylograph pens. I'll get to them in a second. I just want to talk to the method that I'm using for putting color down. Now, I used the Weatherwood Distress ink, and I only have the small little cubes for this one, but I wasn't too concerned about having it go down on the page even. So normally I would blend it out a bit more, but because of the effect I was going for, I kind of wanted the rough weathered look. And same goes for the stencil I used for the brick pattern. It's a Tim Holtz collection Stampers Anonymous stencil. I think they're still available. It's linked down below. And again, tying into the back to school theme, I actually ended up using Post-it notes for some of my elements. Post-it has released a new line called Noted, I believe. Again, it's tagged down below, but it's kind of cool. And so the Post-it note that I used there, it says goals on the tab. And I thought that'd be cool to write my goals down on that. So, and again, I used Post-it notes to mask off the area that I wanted to keep white, like keep the colors off, and it worked great. So for this setup, I got very, very close and personal with my acrylographs. And I know a lot of people struggle using them. And I will say this, clean your nibs after you use them. I've been super lazy in the past and I never cleaned my nibs. And I had a lot of trouble with my yellow nib and the white nib. And the white nib, because I use it a lot, so it got a lot of paint gunked in there. But I ended up taking the time and actually washing out my pen nibs, and they worked so much better once I actually did that. So if you're having problems with your acrylographs, just make sure to clean the nibs after you use them. The other issue I ran into was the nib on my yellow acrylograph was a little bit damaged. And so I just traded it out with one of the spares I had, and it was fantastic. It worked so much better. But I only did that toward the end of my setup instead of at the beginning. So I struggled for a couple pages before I finally just bit the bullet and cleaned it all down. So the colors I used was the yellow from the primary set. I used a white. I used the black, which is also from the primary set. A cool gray, which is from the tropical set. I used the orange, which is from the primary set, and then I used the dark sky, which is from the Ethereal Desert collection, which was the June subbox. Now, the stickers I'm using are available in my shop as well as for free download to email subscribers. I did make a couple changes to the stickers. In the video, you see me outlining the shoes with a black mono drawing pen. And because I realized the effect that I actually wanted was a graffiti effect to go with the hand lettering graffiti effect. So I did make the changes so that it does have the black outline. And so that'll be available for download and in the shop as well. And here you see me just going in and redrawing my pencil lines for my lettering. When I went over with the ink, it ended up smudging the pencil line and I couldn't see it anymore. So it was a bit of a blind coloring situation. And so this is my tracker page. Last month for August, I had my trackers and my notes on the same page, and I really liked it. It worked out really well. For the tracker page, that's the second page that I used the post-it noted post-its again, sticky notes again. And I really like the effect. It's kind of haphazard put together. And honestly, I sat down to do my layout and I had no idea what I wanted to do for my trackers. And then I remembered I bought these sticky notes and I was like, why not give it a try? And I actually really liked how it came out. So the sticky notes I just got from Walmart. I've linked down below where you can grab some for yourself. They actually released a whole new line. This isn't sponsored by Post-it. It kind of should be because I use so much of their product, but it's not. It's just what I had on hand and I wanted to use it, so I did. And so this is where you see me go in with my black acrylograph and add the borders around the lettering and also add a bit of a shadow to it like you find in graffiti lettering. I didn't do thicker borders like you see in graffiti lettering because I didn't want the lettering to get lost. So I just kept the lines thin with some shadow. And this is where I learned my lesson, and I went in with a pen and I drew over top of the pencil so that I could still see the pen lines once I added the ink. And that's because the acrylographs are pretty opaque, so they covered up the pen lines really, really well. The yellow I ran into problems with. Like I said, I had issues with the nib, but also it wasn't quite as opaque as I wanted it to be or as the other colors. So I just ended up going in a couple times. You want to make sure that your paint is dry before you go in with another layer. Otherwise, you just end up scratching it off. If you are impatient, one thing you can consider is kind of pushing the ink. So instead of applying pressure down onto your page, you just hold the nib slightly above the page and just push the ink where you want it to go. There were times when I got impatient and that kind of helped. But again, it's just best to save time to be able to apply the next layer without running into issues like scratching off your paint. And that's what you see me do here. It's just going in and layering and adding another layer here and there just to make sure that I got the opacity that I wanted. The dark sky was perfect. The orange was pretty good and the gray was pretty good, but the white and the yellow needed a little bit more attention in terms of layering. So the layout you see me do now is a 1-3-5 method layout. I used it last month in August, so I've tagged that up above. And my inspiration comes from my inner creative who uses this combined with the Eisenhower method. And the concept is you prioritize your tasks. 1 task that has to be done for that day, 3 tasks that should be done that day, and 5 tasks that, it would be nice if they got done that day. But I've taken it to a monthly kind of a deal where I write down my tasks on sticky notes. And as I get them done, I will assign them to 1, 3, or 5 where they need to go and clear them out as I go. It was okay last month. I'd like to spend more time with it before I make a final decision. And this is my weekly layout that I'm setting up. I did do a design screw up on the days of the week, which I've fixed as well. It's not pretty. So I rearranged the colors, the stickers in my notebook. I rearranged the colors on the stickers that I'm offering to you, so you can go check that out. Missing from my weekly setup this month is my little calendar that I normally stamp in the corner. I decided to forego that and I wrote the dates in the little flag boxes instead. And I'm going to see how that goes. I do like having the calendar view as a whole, so I'm probably going to put it back next week, but we'll see how it goes. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed today's video and setup. This is my flip through, and I hope you stick around. Thanks so much for your time today.